final year as a cleric, an initiated member of her order, but without the duties or responsibilities of the priests and priestesses. "Class sizes are getting a bit ridiculous, aren't they?" Therese appeared at her elbow along with 2 other clerics from Korinna's cohort. "For now." Did she say that out loud? Maybe Korinna had inhaled too much incense, but her brain felt like it was operating at half its normal capacity. "Excuse us," Therese said. "You're standing in the way." "Sorry, I have to go." The other women whispered as they filed into the simulacrum together. Thank the Ember she'd finished her meditation already. There would be no peace for the clerics forced to share the simulacrum with Therese and her friends. She'd been one of those friends once, before she swore herself to the Order. Korinna and Therese would have been only 13 then, barely older than the class of girls she'd just passed, before the night when the others disappeared. Until they pledged their lives to Vermicula, all adepts were treated more or less the same. As children, they studied languages, geography, map-making, and tactology, the science of tactile energy. At age 13, novices breathed in incense from Vermicula's altar, and they were forever bound to her order. Once Korinna and the survivors joined the Order, nothing was the same. Clerics still had lessons, but they were separated according to ability. The largest class in her cohort had 10 women and 3 men. That was the class Therese was part of, the class Korinna had expected to be placed in. Now she didn't have a class. She had remedial lessons by herself with Mistress Vega, an octogenarian priestess who had ruled as high priestess of the Order in her day, before yielding the status to Mistress Renatia. After spending so much time away from her cohort, Korinna was an outsider. Not to mention she usually lacked for stimulating company, as Mistress Vega didn't entertain casual talk. In the mornings, they spent most of their time drawing Korinna's blood out of her arm and into obsidian vials. Mistress Vega would fall asleep during their academic lessons in the afternoon. Korinna didn't have the heart to wake her, and used the time to read the romance stories Vega kept on the tallest shelf in her office, even if they were mostly about men. Without any lessons between now and dinner, Korinna was cut loose, a frayed wire fallen out of its braid. She looked around for the dark-haired woman again, but saw only the usual mass of blurred shapes moving through the corridor. Then she felt for her electric communicator and read the 10 missed notifications with her fingers. "Oh, shit," she whispered, running down the crowded hall to one of the lifts that would take her to the upper levels of the Navitas. It took several minutes to reach the High Priestess's office. She arrived panting and braced her hands against her thighs. Renatia's assistant, Pagarda, stood before her. Between gasps of air, Korinna managed, "I'm sorry. Isn't there still time to meet?" "Absolutely not," said Pagarda. "Your meeting with the High Priestess requires an hour of time. It must be rescheduled." There were still 30 minutes left. Korinna didn't understand why they couldn't have the meeting now, but this was the Order. There were rules and traditions and respect that must be observed. "The High Priestess has a meeting with the Red Friar of the Artist Sector about the candle supplier that cannot be pushed back. You'll receive another appointment." Korinna scuttled out of the office like she'd been swatted with a rolled-up prayer book. Had Pagarda always been such a piece of work? If Korinna hadn't been so distracted by the woman with the beautiful face in the simulacrum, she would have been on time. She couldn't stop thinking about her. She didn't know people could look that way, that someone's eyes could pin you where you stood without them moving or speaking a word. With her meeting over before it began, she made her way to the dining hall. Its high ceilings echoed with the sound of voices and the free embers of tactus that came from having so many Redseers in one place. Korinna could feel the waves of tactus reverberating off the marble surfaces and the glass that revealed open space outside the ship.